and welcome to Second Chance's Farm in our demonstration kitchen. I am here today with Robbie, Jester of Full Circle Foods, and we're going to be making some delicious lunch food, I believe, with some of the produce from Second Chance's Farm that was just harvested minutes ago. Welcome, Robbie.
Thanks for having me back. You know, it's starting to feel like home here in the East Side Community Kitchen. We have some wonderful spices today. We're gonna make a simple, healthy lunch dish. We're gonna do a spiced shrimp lettuce wrap using the Kamala Fearless Fusion Spice Blend. So this has a mix of there's a little bit of curry spices in there, some African influences, some za'atar, a little bit of spice. It's got a little bit of salt. Really is quite nice. It's gonna go great with our shrimp.
Yep.
So we're gonna start off with a saute pan. I have it on medium-high heat. We're gonna go in with a little bit of extra virgin olive oil. And as we can see there, we have a little bit of smoke. We wanna turn that down just a tad.
Smoke has subsided.
Smoke subsided. So what we can do is we can go straight in with our shrimp now. We wanna make sure we get the shrimp in and that we spread it out, so that no single portion of the pan is being overcrowded. Now we're gonna add in our spices here. We just wanna do a little bit of dusting right on top of the shrimp. We're gonna season from, a few inches above. We wanna make sure we get even coating on this spice. It smells great.
And this Kamala Harris spice, this Fearless Fusion blend, is one half of a special inauguration duo of spices, including Joe No Malarkey chicken spice.
So the beautiful thing about those spices, they're very fragrant. You know that they're in there as soon as you're cooking them, but they are there's some sweeter notes in there, so they're gonna pair well with the shrimp. So we have our shrimp. It's been cooked. I'm gonna give it a little bit more time. I wanna get a nice sear on it, then we're gonna flip it over. And we're gonna pull it off. We're gonna then cook our vegetables. We have some beautiful Chinese celery, bok choy, baby bok choy here from the farm, as well as basil. So we're kind of making this Thai basil shrimp wrap. We're gonna go ahead and give our shrimp a flip.
So what is the perfect amount of time to cook shrimp?
So shrimp, you wanna, it kind of depends on the size of the shrimp and it depends on your stove. I think, a minute and a half on each side is gonna be plenty. We want to get good color on the shrimp and a good sear. This is one of the things that I took away from when I was competing with a TV chef on another TV network, but he really did a great job of searing his shrimp, and I've tried to emulate that since. So I'm going to add a little bit more of our spices to this side. Again, these shrimp are not super thick. We don't want to go super heavy with the spices, just enough on each one. And the one thing about shrimp and seafood, or any sort of protein that is smaller or thinner, it's going to continue to cook almost to the point of being finished on its own. So we can actually remove these from the pan.
Gotcha.
We're gonna remove the shrimp here to the plate. And then we're gonna return that saute pan right to the burner. Now we're gonna add just a tad bit more oil here.
And so are we cooking these vegetables?
We are. So we're getting ready to start with our vegetables. We're gonna turn this heat back up to medium high. We're gonna go in just a rough chop on this Chinese celery. It has all of the flavor of celery, but doesn't have a ton of stalk, so we don't need to go down with it. We don't need to small dice it or anything like that. It's gonna come together and be delicious just the way that it is.
Wow. That's cooking right down.
And the beautiful thing about baby greens or hydroponic greens in general is that you are going to be able to use a larger portion of the vegetable than you would for conventional farming, because when it grows through the ground and grows large the way that those things do, they have a tendency to be very fibrous or woody, but these on the other hand are going to be nice and tender and delicious. So we have this bok choy. We're going to go in stems and all in there. Going to do a little squeeze of fresh lime in here. I'm squeezing it upside down in case there would be any seeds. It kind of catches it. And again, just leave the lid off of that, just to round out the spices. So, great smell. You can smell that lime. Wow. You can smell the celery. Just gonna give it a little mix up here. We're gonna return our shrimp.
Wow, back in.
Yeah. Now we're gonna season with a tiny bit of salt. Now the spice blend, you have to be careful with spice blends. A lot of times they do have some salt in them. This one does have a little bit of salt.
Right.
So we're gonna add a little salt here. We're gonna add some fresh pepper. Now, to finish with, we have some of this beautiful basil from the farm. We're just gonna give it a chiffonade. Now, don't be intimidated by that term. Chiffonade is just basically a very thin slice. So we're gonna stack all these leaves on top of each other from largest to smallest. We're gonna give them a little curl. Get this out of the way here. And then we're just going to thinly slice into little slivers. Now by rolling it like this, you eliminate some of the bruising that would happen.
Really?
Keeps it a nice bright color. We're gonna go straight in there with that. Give it another stir again.
And we've turned the heat off at this point,
We've
right?
turned the heat off.
Okay.
It's actually set to just warm now. Okay, now we have a little tiny bit of salad. So I have some radishes here that I julienned. We're gonna take some of those radishes. This would be considered like a breakfast radish. We're gonna go into our bowl here. A little bit of radishes. I have some julienne carrots as well. We're gonna take some more of that lime.
So what's the difference between a julienne and a chiffonade?
So julienne is technically speaking, has specific measurements.
Okay.
So a chiffonade doesn't have specific measurements. A julienne, I believe, is a 1/8 of an inch by an 1/8 of an inch by 1.5 to 2 inches.
Wow.
So it has a specific measurement. Those precision knife cuts you see in a lot of classic French cuisine. And they, you know, we just don't see as many of those nowadays. Could you hand me that olive oil, please? Right there. Yep. So we're just dressing this salad that's gonna be a garnish just a little bit. Basically making a simple broken vinaigrette to give it a little bit of extra flavor. We never want to just put a garnish on a plate that doesn't have any flavor or any seasoning. We want to make sure that it has some body to it. So we have our lettuce here. Now you're going to notice that these lettuce leaves, some of them are on the smaller side, and you might get lettuce for lettuce wraps, and that might be the case. So what we're going to do here is we're basically going to triple them up to make these lettuce wraps. So if you just shingle them across each other like a deck of cards here, you're going to be able to still use it as a lettuce wrap, even though the leaves are a little bit on the smaller side. I want to go with just a little bit of the sauteed greens on the bottom. Some of those shrimp. It smells great. You can really smell the Chinese celery. You can smell the spices, the lime juice.
Yep.
Take a little bit of our salad here.
It's almost like a slaw.
Yep. It is very slaw-ish. Just a little, tiny bit.
Stash.
Boom. There we go.
That is lovely.
We have these fearless fusion shrimp lettuce wraps.
Welcome back. We have Kevin Mulholm here from the farm. He's been working on the farm today, and he's going to give Robbie's awesome lunch wraps a taste.
So,
tell us what you think.
So, Kevin, you have a fearless fusion shrimp lettuce wrap, a little garnish of carrot and radish. In the center, we have the Chinese broccoli from the farm, the baby bok choy from the farm, as well as baby lettuces. Enjoy.
Without making a mess.
Without making a mess.
We'll see.
All right, here we go.
Wow, that was actually pretty impressive.
Oh man, that is good.
Delicious.
It's not a lettuce wrap unless it dribbles down your chin a little bit.
Which has, oh, there we go. There goes the shrimp. Oh, it's good.
Awesome.
There's a nice contrast between the heat of the shrimp, which I almost just dropped, and the cool lettuce.
Yeah.
And also the sauteed, freshly sauteed,
Greens in there.
fresh, locally sourced.
Locally sourced.
Very locally
Hydroponic.
sourced. Thank you.
Awesome.
My pleasure.
Thanks, Robbie.
You're welcome. My pleasure.